So that's the cauliflower crust pizza, and James is having it with some carrot juice. And I'm going to talk about the 14th season of Supernatural, playing with paints, acrylics, and a little bit about Scarred, but I want to wait until another book comes in that's on hold before I talk more about it. So, anyway, I think I got that into where it should be. And I am wearing a size small children's witch costume, which really concerns me. Not because I'm thin. I'm actually a healthy weight right now. I'm a bit curvier than I might want to be, but I think James likes the curves this way.
I think you're pretty good weight.
Pretty good weight.
I think you might be a little underweight. I'm not sure.
Anyway, it's I've been eating a lot of things that I shouldn't eat, and I'm still managing to eat this. So, anyway. Now, I'll talk about this briefly first because it's useless. There's a lot of people who are calling themselves artists out there that lack all skills that are required to do art, honestly. And the best picture in here is on page 93.
The dog one?
The dog. That's it.
Yeah, let's see that. Okay.
But the rest are really, really bad. So,
I think they had maybe too much fun. You know,
yeah.
the whole thing is sometimes when you're trying to do stuff and do it well, it's not necessarily that much fun. What can I say? The fun is like when it's over. Yeah.
She doesn't have a lot in her about the teacher herself, really. She doesn't have.
So yeah, like if you're gonna learn to do figure skating, you know you're gonna have to do figures, you know, like circles and figure eights, and it's gonna hurt a little bit, and you're gonna have to concentrate. It's not necessarily that much.
This stuff's so hideous. Anyway, you can't learn anything from this book. This person cannot teach you a thing. She's really useless. I don't know why everybody thinks, oh, I'm capable of writing a book. And they go out and do it. They just have this yellow confidence about them, and they just shoot right out there without actually learning anything about what they should be doing in order to write the book in the first place, or teach.
Yeah, that's what they're learning at school a lot. Yo, I really can do things. I'm a really valuable person.
They have all this confidence, and so they're like, yes, I can be a teacher. And it's like, okay, have you actually been a learner? If you haven't been a learner, you certainly shouldn't be a teacher. I mean, anyway, so this woman does deal with, she uses some interesting things like pouring medium, which is cool to use. I can show you some work that I did with that. The thing about pouring medium is, a lot of people, they just do absolutely abstract stuff with the pouring medium because it's made to do that really easily. You can whip off something, but really, I mean, if you're doing that, you may as well be, you're not even as skilled as somebody who paints walls in houses.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, it takes some skill to do some real painting on that. So, yeah.
So this is useless. And Supernatural season 14, I don't know how they've made it 14 seasons. Honestly, it's so bad. I watch it.
Bad, I love it. I gotta say.
I watch it from the kitchen. And I mean, we did have some fun last night. The last thing we watched on TV was the Halloween special of Supernatural.
Yeah, it was perfect.
All right.
It was great timing.
So I have to admit that was fun.
Oh man.
Not nearly as fun as this costume.
Yeah,
but
this is true.
This costume's awesome.
Costume. Whereas the costume is okay here, but The
think I
guy
paid
plays
$1
Dean.
or
His
$3
acting
or
chops
something.
hasn't. We were figuring haven't improved one iota
Neither
in
of
the
them.
14 years. Sam's the same thing too.
Neither of them.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's one of the things that I love about it. I just listen to hear some of the classic rock retro music. Today, what were they playing? Thump 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 thump. Let it rock, and BTO, classic BTO. When their first
I don't
hits.
know. You
When
see,
was that, 74 or something like that, spring of 74?
my dad was not into any of that kind of music, so I was never subjected to it. So, I mean, I hear this stuff and I'm like, yeah, I heard it on the radio, and stupid people listen to it, whatever. But I don't know this stuff. My dad was listening to Kraftwerk and
Pink Floyd, little of that.
he preferred.
Come on.
There were two guys from Kraftwerk that did music before they became Kraftwerk, and I can't remember
What they were
called, but they were their names, I think.
Okay.
And he preferred them just before they became Kraftwerk.
Maybe Gunnar and Gottlob or something like that.
No, it was not that.
Wouldn't that be a great name? How about Gottlieb and Gottlob? God's
I don't know.
praise and
You can
God's
look
love.
into it if you're interested in Kraftwerk. Look into what a couple of the guys were doing before. It was like, I don't know, Floyd and Florian or something. I don't know.
How about Udo and Uva?
No, it wasn't. I don't know what the names were, but anyway, look it up if you're, because they did some pretty things, and my dad has the record, and he left all of his music to me in the will, so I suppose I have it, but I don't. It's at Mom's, and my dad had brain cancer, and so when he was dying, everything was getting reorganized. And then once he couldn't walk anymore, it wasn't because he couldn't get around, but he went through all of his books that he'd written and stuff, and he redacted everything, so much got crossed out, but luckily he had one book on saved on computers, so Kathy, my sister, has that, but we still haven't. Anyway, stress when his brain cancer. I mean, if it's eating your brain isn't, you're not thinking clearly when.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't like to think about that. But I don't know, Supernatural, it's interesting. It's designed for guys to watch it. So, it's really stupid. So stupid. There's interesting things about it. Like this season, the mother is back alive, and
yeah, if you die in that show, there's no guarantee you
No.
won't be back. So that's one of the things that you learn.
yeah. So for the actors involved in it, they're like, yeah, sure, kill me because
I'll be back even
exactly.
stronger next time.
Sure,
Yeah.
whatever.
Whereas in other shows, you
It's
see
pretty
an
much
actor
final.
die and you say, man, they negotiated too stringently
On the
for
contract,
a pay increase. They just were calculated to be Oshios.
Yeah.
Show them the door.
Anyway, there's one scene with a female police officer who's getting pounded out by some demon man, and I'm like, wow, times sure changed when you can show a woman getting pounded out by a guy on TV, whether he's a demon or not. I mean, that's.
Is this a cable program then? It sounds more like a cable.
I don't know. It's not very smart, so I don't know. So.
Anyway, I love that show. It doesn't come recommended, but if you do watch it, I recommend you kind of just kick back and enjoy it. Get something else to concentrate on, like reading something or something like that. Every so often, look up. Just smile.
So this pizza is leftovers from last night's pizza that I made, James. It's the cauliflower crust pizza, and it's. Would you say it's the best cauliflower crust pizza I've made?
It's the best pizza I think I've made, actually. Better than any regular crust pizza.
There you go.
So the funny thing is, you wouldn't be able to eat it like you usually eat triangles of pizza necessarily, although you were able to do that.
You might
yesterday.
be able to. I
But
don't know.
you can eat it with a fork, which is even better,
Yeah.
as far as I'm
So you can. Anyway, you make your cauliflower crust pizza. So that's again just all it is the cauliflower pulp, almond flour, or like ground almonds, and egg. if you eat eggs. If you don't eat eggs, there's other ways. Just look online. There's lots of ways to make it. But you don't put any water or anything. The egg is enough moisture to stick it together, and then you just smooth it out on the parchment. And then I put, also you put the seasonings in the, but that's whatever you want to put. I put garlic, salt, pepper, parsley, and a fair amount of oregano and basil. I think that's it. And
spices are an important part of it.
Yeah, it's also good when you put nutritional yeast in there, but I did not this time. And I put the pizza sauce, and then
That's it.
yeah, and then mushrooms, black olives, those Hungarian or whatever long red pointed peppers, and shredded butternut squash on top. And
That's for the look.
Yeah,
Give it
that
an
was
orange look. Replace the cheese.
So there's no cheese, but there is eggs in this one. And if you're not eating eggs lately or whatever, I mean, I go where sometimes I'll have an egg thing and then not for a year. So I consider myself ovo-lacto-vegetarian still. I always have, even though most of the time I eat vegan.
This is true.
Yeah. But I don't know. Anyway, I haven't cared that much about that sort of thing lately. I at the public professors I had an egg. It was
The one of those deviled eggs.
yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah.
And I've been eating chocolate lately, which is not good because it has the dairy in it. I shouldn't be eating that and the caffeine. Anyway, but I can
Lots
still
of fun,
fit into
though.
yes, lots of fun, and I can still fit into a size small children's outfit. I remember, I don't know if I'll get to talk about this because I'm sidetracked with all sorts of things. I remember when I went to a thrift shop when I was younger, and I found this dress from the 1970s, and it said size 10 on it, and I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, that doesn't look like size 10, and it sure didn't fit me. And so, and I was a lot smaller than a size 10 from today's sizings, right? So usually I run about a size 4 anyway, and I guess I probably am right now, but sometimes a little lighter. It depends on what I'm eating and how much I'm exercising and what season it is. Anyway, so I'm at this thrift store, and later on I was reading about how they changed sizes because so the size that if you get a vintage thing from way back, the size that it says on that article of clothing is not what you're going to be accustomed to. They've changed the sizing because people grew bigger, and so they don't want you to feel like you're chunky. I was in a thrift store recently, and I saw what was it? I think it was something like a size 16 petite, and I'm looking at these pants going, petite?
Wow.
Like, how can that be petite? So here this costume that I'm wearing, and I'm not at my smallest by a long shot. This is a size small children's, and yeah, it comes up to a little bit above the knee, whatever. I'm sure that for a child this was meant to go ankle length or whatever, but seriously, I should not be able to fit into a size small children's. That's ridiculous. So
A bit worrisome.
it is. It's very worrisome. So, Scarred, this it's I don't know if you've heard about this NXIVM cult, and I don't know how much I can actually believe out of this book. And the whole time I'm reading it going, okay, where's the action? Because I've heard about this, just a little bit about this cult. It's supposed to be an S&M cult, and it was a big thing, whatever. But really, it seems like some sort of mildly, suggestively S&M pyramid scheme for people to go to seminars and stuff. Honestly, maybe it was a big deal. I'm not sure. I mean, lady did get out with a hideous scar from being branded. But honestly, I'm reading this, and did she do it to herself? Can I believe that this was done to her? And whatever, you know? I mean, she is obviously very, very yellow. That's her personality type. She's an aggressive personality type. And if this branding, like, I'm looking at this thing and going, really? Is that those initials? It's supposed to be the Keith whatever's initials. And
KR.
yeah, Renier or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and some other woman that's, I mean, presumably he's the priest and the other woman involved was the high priestess, whatever. But, I mean, they have it kind of monkeyed up because he's the big shot in the organization. And, I mean, whatever. So it's portrayed in this book that it's really some sort of sex cult. Although she gets up to this high level, she's never had sex with a guy. Or at least it's not included in the book.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I believe that it was a sex cult, but maybe. I mean, there is one part of the book, the FBI whatever's.
FBI tapes. Court. Court.
Filing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a text exchange. That's page 208 to 210. That, but honestly, so you think that I can believe that? The text exchange. He's believing that. So anyway,
But
it is funny that there are misspellings, that Renier or whatever is misspelling a few things and stuff, whatever. I did get to learn one thing. The SIC in the little square brackets
You
means...
can be swear, sometimes it's just regular brackets.
Okay, but
It
Jane...
just basically means so or thus.
Yeah, so I did manage to learn
And,
something because I've
Latin.
seen that and I'm like, well, what does that mean? Whenever I've read that in the book, I didn't know until I was reading this to James and he explained it to me.
Yeah, so basically all it means is it refers to what immediately precedes it. Very often it indicates a spelling mistake in the original.
Yeah, and they're
person
trying to quote
quoting
it, so they don't want to
is,
look like an idiot themselves.
It's just a short way of indicating this. Hey, this fool made up.
Okay, so I'm
spelling or a grammar mistake or whatever. Usually spelling mistake.
I'm going to read the page 126 12-point mission statement. People control the money, wealth, and resources of the world. It's essential for the survival of humankind for these things to be controlled by successful, ethical people. I pledge to control as much money as possible within my success plan. I will always support the ethical control of these things. So, this is what people were pledging when they were getting in. And this is interesting because not only does it try to pull people in who are interested in making lots of money, like yellows, but and people who want to believe that they're living ethically, which a lot of yellows actually, they get pretty self-righteous about anything they do, when actually they're using way more resources than they should. And they're just sucking the greens of the population dry. So, but I mean, this can also pull in a lot of greens who actually, that's personality type. People who do want to live ethically, right? So, and they might actually be believing, okay, well, if I do make the money, then it is keeping it out of the hands of like somebody who's pouring oil on baby seals or something, right? So I can see how some people got sucked into this. Or I guess apparently a lot of people did. There's one quote that I liked from the author here. There's a few actually that are very telling. Page 9, I've brought pre-made butternut squash soup from a nearby Whole Foods as my contribution to the potluck. All of the women carefully measure out their portions, a half cup of soup, a small plate of salad. They're calorie counting, an NXIVM practice. that I've always refused to follow. They call me decadent when I would savor an entire avocado with my lunch, glare at me over the 0-calorie miracle noodles, fat-free yogurt, and baked squash. I would later find out that Keith liked his women at around 100 pounds and demanded they stay thin. Well, she's thin. She's an actress. And honestly, I think it's very telling that she had to mention that she brought a pre-made soup from a Whole Foods. She has to put that in there. You know, this is her quote. She's put this is her, right? So, I mean, she goes to a potluck, but she's not even able to make her own butternut squash soup. And she's not the kind of person that wants to. She wants to buy it from Whole Foods and show it off to the group, right? That, oh, I buy from Whole Foods, so I'm a good person. Well, if you're buying pre-made soup from anybody, you've wasted resources. Honestly. It's ridiculous.
Packaging. Shipping.
So, and here's a bit from she included all sorts of pictures of herself, a photo album. Why? Because she's yellow. She's saying, look at me, all the time.
It really doesn't show much. You're right.
Yeah, this picture of her looking like a victim is about as real as her fake smiles in all of her pictures. She's a piece of crap. So anyway, she includes some exercises that she's completed from the brochures that they gave out and whatever. And because she's proud of her answers and stuff, she wants to show you who she is. And so far in life, I am the following: a human, a girl, a woman, a child, a student, a seeker, a parasite, a counselor, a helper, an actor, an entrepreneur, a traveler, and a creative artist. To my family, I am, and it's repeated, a parasite. When I call yellows parasites, understand, they see themselves that way, and they're proud of it. When yellows call themselves parasites, she's showing it off. She's showing it off to you. When I call them a parasite, I am calling them what they would call themselves. They want to they brag about how they are taking advantage of people. That's power to them. Being able to parasite off of other people. Understand that. They're not ethical people. They just want you to see them as ethical while they're taking all your energy. So, at the back, Sarah Edmondson is a Canadian actress and playwright who has starred in the CBS series Salvation and more than 12 films for the Hallmark Channel in Lifetime. Wow. She's featured in the CBC podcast Uncover, Escaping NXIVM, and The Vow, the upcoming HBO documentary series on NXIVM. And honestly, when I read this book, I said to myself, what do you do if you were a crappy young actress and now you've aged and are essentially unemployable as an actress? Branding yourself as a victim of a cult is marketable. I don't believe anything this woman has to say. Unless it's collaborated by somebody else, honestly, she is an aggressive personality type. And if anybody who is running some sort of S&M cult doesn't recognize that she's an aggressive personality type, they're really out to lunch. So they knew she was. So she was probably more than likely, if this is an S&M cult, I have to learn more about it, she was more than likely an abuser, not somebody who got abused. So...
Well, she worked her way up high through the hierarchy, correct?
Yep.
So that might well have happened. Mm-hmm. I think you're right. This is a little bit of marketing and stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Now she's able to get some work for CBC and HBO.
Anodyne. Understand, don't give your money to this scummy guy, but...
no way.
This is
but
not
she
like,
might be even marketing
like
it,
Charlie
continuing
Manson
the process.
stuff or Mel Lyman family stuff or Jim Jones family type of stuff.